Hey, it's James, Father's Rights and Resources, hashtag how I got custody. Why don't you let me tell you a little story about a dad or a guy who spent $1,500 on an attorney who committed malpractice, and he filed a lawsuit and walked away with $25,000, 18 times or 17 times the money that he wasted on the attorney. So this guy was a dad that I worked with in a custody case, and he went back to get rid of an old restraining order, and the attorney came on board. They had a couple hearings. He's dragging things out. And then he was a no-show for a hearing. And the judge chewed the attorney out on the record or complained to my guy. I was like, why don't you sue him for malpractice? Don't just file a bar complaint, get your money back. So he wrote a demand letter, and then I helped him with the lawsuit. And then that lawyer hired a big dog law firm in downtown Seattle that fights, malpractice suits or defends these monsters. And so they had a consultation with my guy, and he always wanted to do it with me in the room. And they said, you'll never win a malpractice suit. That's really hard to do, and yada, yada. And so, he actually filed a malpractice suit. So the attorney hired this big law firm. So I worked with him on the malpractice suit. He filed the malpractice suit. No attorney, did it himself. This is what happens when you grow some balls and you confront people. Everybody's running around scared, not doing anything, and they're getting railroaded, and they're losing everything, and they got nothing to lose if they stand up for themselves. But they don't stand up for themselves because they're scared that things will get worse, and it can't get any worse. Zero visitation, supervised visitation, all this other stuff. And like, oh, what if I actually stand up? Well, you didn't stand up before and you got creamed. Me and other people stand up to attorneys in the system, and we win. Maybe you should try what winners are doing. I've had consultations with guys of late where they want to argue with me and fight with me. Well, the cops say this. Well, the school says this. Well, the judge says this. Well, the guardian ad litem says this. Well, the psychologist says this. Blah, blah, blah. Keep being a little slave-minded little bitch then. And keep defending all of your persecutors. You think anybody who accomplished anything in life and changed anything that was wrong said, well, my haters say this, and the people who hate me say this, or Martin Luther King said, well, white people say this about me, so I shouldn't try, or Malcolm X, or women and women's suffrage movement. Oh, the men don't like us. Anybody who accomplished anything in life had resistance, had persecutors, had people who made fun of them. My gender and family court, we'll talk all kinds of smack off the record or on Facebook. I can't believe these court systems, kids need fathers. But then when you go to court, you don't even say kids need fathers. You're just like, Your Honor, please let me have it. Like if you talk shit in court, at least 50% of how intensely you do it on Facebook, you'd have a better chance. You'd probably be winning. But you want to bow down and worship everybody and be their little slave and kiss their butt. Do you think a president of a country walks into other countries and bows down to them? Or, a sheriff walks into a situation negotiating with somebody or a kidnapper and says, please, I beg you. No, they walk in with confidence and with power and with authority. And they come from a place of authority. So then there's a chance to negotiate. May not, the person kidnapping somebody, holding somebody hostage may blow up the whole building. But if you walk in like a bitch and you're supposed to be rescuing people and you're a sheriff, you say, oh, please, will you please bring the kids out or the people that you hold hostage, please? No. Real men stand firm and they know who they are and they tell people who they are, and they might negotiate and be civil and stuff, but they come from a place of firm, solid advocacy for whatever they're advocating for. But in this feminized society taken over by the spell that's cast over America, this Jezebel spell where you're scared to grow some balls, to act like a man, to say anything. Well, I'm worried there'll be a confrontation. I'm worried somebody might criticize me. What will they say? What will they think? Go back to your bitch cave. And when you decide that you're sick and tired of it, then decide to stand up to somebody. So this guy files a lawsuit. He asked for something crazy that we knew he wasn't going to get, like $80,000 or whatever. Shoot for the stars, hopefully he hits the moon. He wasted $1,500 on this attorney. He lost his court case, or he didn't get what he wanted. Sued him for malpractice. The attorney's law firm calls him up, said, "Hey, we want to talk to you." They send to the front line. They send some punk kid who's a new attorney. We looked him up. He only had a year experience or a couple years. He's like, I feel real bad for you, but you're never going to win a malpractice suit. And then they said, we'll give you a couple $1,000s for your troubles. Nope. The guy said, no, I'm not taking that. And then I think they bumped it at $3,000 or maybe $4,000. He said, I'm not taking that bull crap. I might as well go to trial and sue him. And then around the third time, we wrote a letter to the law firm and said how outrageous he was. And we said, we're going to go in for the fact all your little yakety yak talking is a bunch of hot air bull crap. We're going to go in front of a jury. People in general hate lawyers. So when we go in front of a jury, they're already against your client. So stop talking shit that I'm the bad guy and it's hard to win. And stop giving me unsolicited legal advice. On top of that, when this lawyer runs for judge again, I'm going to tell the whole world what he did to me, and there's no chance he'll ever be a judge. He tried to run for judge and didn't make it, so he's probably going to run for judge again. Next thing you know, we do another negotiation, and they offer $25,000. They made their offer about 6-7 times their last offer. And then he said, okay, that sounds cool. I'll go with that. Now, somebody might say, oh, you didn't help him win or anything. He settled out of court. He played the leverage game, dumbass, which you're not playing. The mother's leveraging you and punking you like a little bitch. And so you're sitting there saying, oh, I don't want to stand up to her. I don't want to talk bad about her, blah, blah, blah. I'll just let her go in there and say that I'm a monster and I'm a child molester. I'll get a psychosexual evaluation where they have to strap my penis to a electronic device and see if I get aroused watching child porn. Or I'll have a psychologist evaluate me and they'll find anything that they want to with me. And I'll have a guardian ad litem radical feminist with hairy legs who got molested by her dad interview me. And I'll bow down to them and I'll prove to them that I'm wonderful. See, the problem with men is that we want to cruise through. We're going to the slaughterhouse and we want to cruise through the slaughterhouse and not fight because it takes energy and we're a bunch of sissy pussy cowards and exerting energy makes us uncomfortable. We'd rather go home and sit in our chair, a recliner, and drink some beer and watch a football game and watch some gladiators fight because we wish we were real men like that. But the only way anybody wins in court in an adversarial war is to stand up to somebody or scare them that you got the power or weaponry. You could stand down a bully if you stand up and the bully doesn't realize how muscular or big or strong you are. You got your boys around you or whatever. Sometimes you could squash a beef by showing force. You don't squash a beef by oh, please leave me alone and please. Somebody who enjoys bullying you and punking you and manipulating you, when you see weakness, I mean, it happens in the animal kingdom. It happens between countries for wars. Once they see a weakness, like, oh, we got him now, let's go in for the kill. People who at least fake it, like, the Wizard of Oz, that guy intimidated. I know it's a fantasy, but it's a principle that works. He's hollering really loud with an intimidating voice, and he's a weak midget behind a curtain. That's what most bullies are anyway. And everybody runs and lives by intimidation. That's how the court system works. You cop a plea to a criminal case because you're scared to go to jail, and the prosecutor knows he doesn't have a case. He just scares you into it. It's all smoke and mirrors. So this guy stood up to them and played their game and came with a real threat. And there's always a real threat that you can make in any court case. Now, I can see somebody in the comments say, well, what's the threat of my case? Dude, I don't know your case, you dumbass with no self-awareness. If you want some help, grow some balls and exercise some energy and pick up a phone and call or text to schedule an appointment. This is another problem. People will watch my videos and be inspired to do something, and what's their effort that they exert to do something? They beg in the comments, please help me, or tell me this quickie answer. And if you had any kind of sense that God gave a monkey, there's no way I can fully consult with you and break down the elements of your situation unless I talk to you one-on-one. I shouldn't even have to explain this to people. But people want to get a quick, easy fix answer because you don't want to exert yourself. That's why I say the biggest problem with the family court system is the punk-ass bitch cowardice of my gender and the laziness of my gender. If you actually care about your kid, you'd be willing to go through hell and get on the offensive and do this stuff. So this guy, he played the uncomfortable leverage game and wouldn't back down to them, and he walked away with almost 20 times what he lost.